We'll go ahead and get started. Okay, I found this really cool prayer by Susan Gregg Schroeder. She's actually a United Methodist pastor. So often, Divine One, the tasks before me feel overwhelming and impossible. The expectations of others weigh heavy upon my shoulders. At times like these, I think I need to do something to invest more time and effort to pray longer and harder, to embark on a journey in search of the kingdom. When I am too tired to do anymore, when I am content just to be, when I stop long enough to rest, when I'm finally ready to give up, I find myself sitting on a treasure you have hidden in a field, waiting for me to discover. When I lift the treasure from its hiding place, I find that you have graced me with adequacy for all that lies ahead. I thought that was really reassuring. I really liked that one. Okay, so week 3 recap. Y'all were all here. We talked about the negativity bias, negative self-talk, how those are actually really human things. It's pretty common and kind of automatic for us to do those things. Gratitude and savoring as antidotes, as helpful practices against the negativity bias. And then the assignment, a break from the news. We'll kind of discuss this later if you decided to do that. Okay, so we're gonna do one more week on mindset. There's a lot to cover and you could talk weeks and weeks about this, but I just thought 2 would be good. So I found these statistics. There's an average of 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts that we think per day. And then up to 95% of these thoughts are the same thoughts as the day before. So I thought with that knowledge, we really should be mindful of what we're thinking about, right? Like we want the things that we're thinking about over and over and over to be positive. So, okay, we're gonna talk about a few unhelpful thought patterns. These are things which, if you just wanna start being aware of them, you'll probably recognize some of these that you do because we all kind of do these. Overgeneralizing. So this one, all sports car drivers are so aggressive. Overgeneralizing can be, I think, I've seen it done in politics or for gender or even yourself. I'm always this way. I never do this. So that's one to just be aware of and recognize that it's unhelpful. The next one is disqualifying the positive. So we have this cartoon, this girl is getting lots of positive comments and she goes, eh. And then one person says a negative comment. She says, it's true, I'm a failure. So I think this relates, I think, to the negativity bias, right? Where we have a lot of good things happening, but we disqualify it. We go, well, that's maybe a fluke, or, well, this one negative thing is more important. So this is an unhelpful thought pattern. This next one, emotional reasoning, believing that emotions are the truth. This one really, when I did the research on this, really stuck out as something that I tend to do, and it is pretty automatic. And so this was enlightening to me. So a couple of examples of emotional reasoning are, I am sad, so I must be weak. Or I feel really embarrassed, so I must be stupid. Or I feel angry, so I must be right. So we're equating our emotions with something that's the truth, but the emotions aren't necessarily the truth. So that's an important one to kind of be aware of throughout your day, emotions tying to truth, and are we believing that? So unhelpful thought pattern number 3. Okay, the next one, catastrophizing. So I will admit to doing this as well. It's something small that maybe happens, like to keep it relevant, say you get a tickle in your throat and you cough. And then you start thinking about, well, what does that mean? Am I sick? Will I go to the hospital? Will I never see my friends again? And all of a sudden, nothing's happened, but you are catastrophizing it in your mind. That is not helpful, very unhelpful. And then jumping to conclusions. So this can be, well, my friend didn't text me back, so I bet she hates me. I bet she's mad at me. Something where that's not the truth. We're just jumping to conclusions. So I found this cartoon that kind of talked about both of them. So the brain says, what if it's too late? What if it never gets better? What if someone gets hurt? And the brain just goes on and on and on. And then the heart says, hey, what if everything is going to be okay? The brain says, I hadn't thought of that. So I think that kind of sums up the unhelpful thought patterns. Again, just to be aware of. Okay, and this is the anxiety and panic feedback loop. This may be something that you don't have trouble with, but I wanted to kind of show you what it was, just to be aware of something that can happen with anxiety. So we start off with an awareness of a stimulus or perceived threat. My example I'm going to use for my life is insomnia. So my threat is actually kind of a thought of like, what if I don't sleep? And so that's like my threat. Then I start thinking more negative thoughts. Well, if I don't sleep, I'm, going to have a terrible next day, and then, I'll feel awful. This now leads to negative emotions. So if I continue this, if I keep thinking this way, I'll probably start to feel a bit of fear or overwhelm, or like, ooh, what does this mean? And I kind of keep going in that loop and that spiral. And when this happens, when the emotions start to flare up and there's fear or panic or something like that, now we have an increased limbic system reaction. So the limbic system is our fight or flight. So it tells our bodies, our minds, hey, pay attention. What's interesting about the limbic system is that this was actually useful a long time ago when we needed to avoid getting eaten by tigers. We heard something in the bushes, and so now we're really aware of it. And that was really important. But in modern life, we're still having these panicked feelings, but we don't have any tigers. We can't sleep, or we hear something, on the news. So that is just something to pay attention to. To complete the loop, what happens when this keeps going is that now I'm really awake, right? If I have insomnia, now I've done all of this. Now I'm definitely not getting to sleep. And now I have an increased awareness. So now I'm really, really aware that I cannot go to sleep. And probably I won't fall asleep if I'm really, really panicked. And then I'm going to have stronger negative thoughts. And then I'm going to have stronger negative emotions. So you can see how this is not what we want. So how do we get out of the loop? We must use a different part of the brain to help us get out of the loop. So we want to move from the limbic system, our kind of fight or flight, to our frontal lobe, which this is the part, where we gain cognitive control over our emotions, where we can do some rational thinking. So to get out of the loop, we need to interrupt and short circuit the emotional loop with rational thoughts. Okay, so I found this, I'm super fan of acronyms. Like we've done the HALT acronym. We did the THINK last week with the true, helpful, and inspiring. So I found another one, and I've been kind of going over it this week, and it's been really great. So first, we need to become aware of the unhelpful thought pattern or anxiety loop. Honestly, that's sometimes the hardest part, is that we're just stuck in our heads and we don't realize we're doing that. But once you do realize, oh, I've been awake for an hour thinking of, terrible thoughts at night, then you can stop. So this acronym is stop and pause for a moment. This kind of just gives yourself a moment to reassess. Take a few deep breaths. Observe your thoughts, emotions, and sensations in your body. So for me, in my insomnia example, I would maybe think, oh, it looks like I'm kind of getting out of control, or I'm catastrophizing what's going to happen. I feel really afraid right now and my heart rate is up. So I'm just observing. I'm trying to withhold judgment of, oh, now I'm a terrible person, or why can't I do this? I'm just simply observing. This one is the pull back and ponder. So now we're using this, instead of being sucked into our emotions, we're kind of rationalizing and going, wait a minute, is this a fact or opinion? If I tell myself I'll never sleep again, or, what's going to happen next, that's actually just an opinion. So I can start to intellectualize, what advice would I give a friend? Just relax, you'll fall asleep eventually, so that's kind of short circuiting that loop, that spiral. And then kind of an extra P here in stop, proceed with something that supports you in the moment. So this is also to get you back on track. So for me, this looks like focusing on my breath, meditating, or just thinking like of some good memories, you know, and I feel like this has been very helpful for me in insomnia to just get out of the fear-based kind of emotional loop. So you can use this with anything that you feel like you're kind of trapped and you don't know how to get out of. So this is I think a really helpful acronym to use. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples of kind of what this looks like. And again, this may or may not be relevant to you, but I think it's really important to just have that awareness so that if someone in your life maybe is going through this, or maybe in the future, you have like something in your toolbox to use. So this is a person driving. Okay, I noticed that I'm feeling very anxious. So that's the stop. T is for the take deep breaths. And then the O is for observing. You know, last time I drove and had a panic attack. So now I'm in my car, my breathing is shallow, my palms are sweaty. My body is on high alert from last time, which is normal. And then the P for ponder, but I'm safe. Everything is okay right now. You know, if I need to pull over, I will. It won't be a big deal. And then the last P, proceed. I'm going to listen to my favorite song now. So that was kind of how you would use that. And that's a pretty intense example. If this person stayed in the fight or flight response and didn't kind of go through this, they might choose to avoid driving. And then that action would reinforce the mind's belief that driving will lead to a panic attack. So that is important to kind of go through those steps, kind of think about what's going on in your mind. The next example is this person. Okay, there's that ringing in my ear again. I feel really anxious. So we're aware of what's going on. Take some deep breaths. I feel very annoyed and a bit panicked. That's observing. But the doctor said I don't have a medical problem and that I'm okay. You know, ponder. I know continuing to obsess won't help. And then P for proceed. I'll go ahead and stop Googling and go on a walk. They're getting out of that and moving. Sometimes just literally doing something different, moving your body, getting away is a great way to get out of the loop. And then I wrote, if this person stayed in the fight or flight response, it would probably lead to more anxiety and would reinforce the mind's belief that ringing in the ears will lead to something terrible. So again, we're using our mind to help ourselves. Okay, we're gonna do 2 exercises. These have been really great. I found these a while back, and if you kind of want to jot down what it looks like, you can. The assignment will be to do these, you know, later in the week or later tonight or whatever. But these are to help us start like helping our mind, working with our thoughts in a more structured way. So we start off the zigzag exercise with a healthy belief that we want to actually believe in our own life. So this example is something that I worked through on my own. Something I would like to believe about myself is I am capable and can handle what comes my way. I think that would be great if I could believe that. So we want to start off with saying, what's our initial commitment? Like, how much do we really buy into that? So I might say 75%. Yeah, sure. I can handle what comes my way. The next step of the exercise is to kind of look at your thoughts and what do you think a challenge is that would come up? So for me, I put, in the past, I've struggled so much and I'm worried it won't be any different this time. So that's kind of my negative thought that I'm dealing with. But I'm going to have a defense. So now I'm thinking about it. Well, I know more than I used to. I have more resources and support this time around. So I'm basically saying that negative thought it's not really valid anymore because I can defend that and know that I am capable and can handle what comes my way. So I'm working towards making sure that belief is stronger than initially I believed in. All right, one more challenge. See what other kind of negative thoughts and patterns I'm dealing with. But if I fail, then I will feel terrible and my family will be disappointed in me. And then what will I do? So my defense is that's an unhelpful thought pattern. I don't know the future, but I do know I'm determined to stay mentally healthy. So you can see the zigzag is kind of your mind and figuring out you have some negative thoughts, but how can you pull those out and go, are those really valid though? And at the end of this exercise, you're going to talk about your new commitment to your new belief. So after I did that, I was like, oh yeah, my belief is much stronger now that I kind of got rid of those challenges because they didn't really make sense. I had way stronger defenses. So that is exercise 1, to kind of boost your healthy beliefs and to have that awareness of negative thoughts that are automatic. The next one, I love this one. This is the worry tree. So what am I worrying about? I'm going to stay current, and let's just all imagine that we're worried about a loved one getting ill or ourselves getting ill, right? So the first part of the tree, is this a problem I can do something about? So we have the yes part or the no part. So we'll start off with, I'm worrying about, what if I get sick? Is this a problem I can do something about? I'm going to say yes. Work out what you could do, list your options. So for me, if I'm worried about getting sick, I'm going to do all the things I know I should be doing, wearing a mask, getting more sleep, drinking water, just being healthy, right? Doing whatever I can to stay healthy. That's something I can do. I think the next one is no. Yeah. If I'm worrying about, well, what will school look like this year? Or what will the government be doing in 6 months? I don't know if I can do something about that right now. So the no says, let the worry go and focus on something else that is important to you right now. So basically this worry is kind of dead ending because there's nothing we can do. Now back to the yes. Is there anything I can do right now? So if there is something you can do, you're headed out to the store and you are still like, I'm really worried I'm going to get sick. Go ahead and do the things you know that you can do. Put your mask on, get some hand sanitizer, whatever you can do, whatever your options were, but then let the worry go and focus on something else that is important to you right now. You've done what you could, and you have to let it go. If there's nothing you can do right now, say you're at home worrying, or up late at night and you're worrying, which I think is pretty common for nighttime to just be the time where we decide to think about all the things in our life. But if there's nothing we can do right now, plan what you could do and when you will do it. Say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to, drink more water. Tomorrow I'm going to, whatever it is, that way you have a plan. And then guess what the next one is? Let the worry go and focus on something else that is important to you right now. So this is something you can work through with different worries. Just however I feel like it's really important. I think the first question, is a problem I can do something about? I think that's honestly a really important question because a lot of times the things we're worrying about, we don't have direct control over. So then we just kind of keep it in our mind when we should be, trying to let the worry go and focus on something else that's important. This might not be easy. I tend to worry, and I know a lot of people I come from a line of worriers. So, we're just kind of wired this way, some of us, but for me, this is a way to kind of think about my thoughts and kind of go from there. So those were the 2 exercises. Let's see what's next. Mental health and the Bible. Okay, this verse, we break down every thought and proud thing that puts itself up against the wisdom of God. We take hold of every thought and make it obey Christ. This one, God has not given us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and self-discipline. And I love this one. Refuse to worry about tomorrow, but deal with each challenge that comes your way one day at a time. Tomorrow will take care of itself. I know that last one I've been telling friends and telling myself one day at a time. And I actually had a friend, my friend with a newborn and a 1-year old. She was like, "No, Sarah, it's one moment at a time." I'm like, yep, sometimes it's one moment, and that's okay. All right. Got our mental health toolbox that we've been kind of adding to. The first one, connection. So like what we're doing right now is really great to connect with others. Spending time with friends, texting or Facebook or calling or in person or however you're doing it, staying connected is really healthy, really good. We need to be around people. That's just a human thing. So y'all are all doing that, and that's wonderful. The next one, this picture cracks me up. I put animals and pets. If you don't have pets, just looking at, animal photos or watching cat memes or videos, I mean, I just feel like they give you a sense of like, I don't know, it's just humor. It's, levity, laughter. I think it's really, I love having pets and I love looking at animals. So just remember, if you're having a hard day, it's okay to spend some time watching animal videos. I give you permission to do that. I think that's very a good plan. Okay, and I already kind of alluded to this, but our practice, so use the stop method if you find yourself getting sucked into unhelpful thought patterns or an anxiety loop. And what I've actually done is gone through the letters, the stop, take a breath, observe, ponder, and proceed. That way, I kind of have memorized the acronym. So when I do need it, I'm not like, wait, what was it again? So that might be something to just go through. And then number 2, take 10 to 15 minutes this week to go through the zigzag exercise or the worry tree. You can write it down or kind of just go through it, but I do think it's valuable to use your own. I mean, I used my examples, but yours might be different. So going through your own thought patterns, going through your own personal worries for your life will be valuable.